Greetings and welcome to another impressions video here at Words About Games, and today we're going to be looking at Code Vein. Code Vein is an anime Souls-like that puts players into the role of a vampire-like revenant, set in a world where a cataclysm has destroyed almost everything, and the surviving revenant fight over an ever-diminishing supply of blood beads, lest they succumb to their hunger and become one of the lost, mindless creatures who wander the world attacking everything that crosses their path. I normally try to avoid saying stuff like this when I'm writing out my impressions of a game, and it's going to sound cliched when I say it, but if you've played Dark Souls, then Code Vein is going to feel incredibly familiar. As much as that sounds incredibly lame, it's a fact, and although there are some differences that make Code Vein stand out a bit, you might find yourself occasionally wondering if you're actually playing a Dark Souls spin-off. Walking into the Cathedral of Sacred Blood for the first time, I had a moment where I could have sworn I was in Anor Londo. A lot of gameplay mechanics are lifted directly from Dark Souls. Bonfires are missile. Dying sends you back to them. You'll drop all your haze when you die and need to retrieve it from the location of your death. There's a formula here that Code Vein has followed to create their own anime-inspired tech. It's not a bad thing that Code Vein has borrowed heavy inspiration from Software's signature franchise, because what the team at Shift and Bandai Studios has created is solid. While I don't think it'll be winning any Game of the Year awards, I'm enjoying what I'm playing of the game, and even after sitting down to write the first draft of this script, I'm still playing it. Aside from the levels and environments, the place that Code Vein will feel most familiar to Dark Souls veterans is in the combat. It's slow, deliberate, and ready to punish you if your attention slips or you make a mistake. This is where the differences start to become noticeable as well. While the game can still be punishingly demanding, particularly during lost invasions that see waves of enemies spawn to attack you, it also doesn't require quite as much precision as the game that inspired it. You can make a mistake or take your eye off the ball and still recover, and sometimes I've even been able to button mash as a last-ditch effort and actually come out of the situation alive. You're also able to take an ever-present AI partner with you into the world, and they're incredibly useful. When I was initially paired up with an NPC, I was fully prepared to have an annoying, near-useless anchor weighing me down. Instead, your partner is actually really useful, able to kill groups of enemies, revive you from death once, and generally have your back during particularly hairy encounters. Even the callouts of enemy locations, potential ambushes, and treasure are all actually really useful. You're also able to go it alone, if you prefer not to have someone helping you out. Who you choose to partner up with will depend on your playstyle, and in that regard, Code Vein is teeming with options. The game allows you to switch classes on the fly, each with their own strengths, abilities, and playstyles, to allow you to find something to suit how you want to play the game, and you unlock more classes as the game goes on. You're also able to spend haze unlocking and mastering abilities from other classes, allowing you to equip them no matter what class you're actually playing as. Code Vein combines this with a variety of weapon types, spells, and active and passive abilities that lets players create their own classes that fit their playstyle, encouraging you to play the game how you want to, which is hugely welcome in a Souls-like game, especially after the rigidity of Sekiro put me off earlier this year. Although I will say I'm not a fan of the confusing leveling system. You jump haze into leveling up as you'd expect, but the game takes control of what stats improve, and I'm not sure how it all works. It's fine enough, and I can't say I've ever felt underleveled at any given moment, but for a game with a focus on customization, it seems odd that you're not able to have more control over your own leveling. And while we're on the subject of customization, I need to mention Code Vein's character creator, because it's exceptionally good. The level of detail you're able to put into creating your avatar exactly how you want is, frankly, amazing, and is something I want to see in more games with custom player characters. I spent close to a full hour messing around with the incredibly robust set of options in Code Vein's character creation, and if you're into that, then let me tell you, this game has one of the best character creators around. Not everything in Code Vein is good, unfortunately, and there are a few frustrations, such as the game's over-reliance on ambushes. I wouldn't call it bad per se, but you'll have enemies suddenly appearing from all angles to an almost absurd degree, and it can get pretty vexing when you're constantly being jumped, sometimes every 30 seconds. What is definitely underwhelming are the boss fights. While I'm certainly no masochist, no matter what my enjoyment of Souls-like games might tell you, the boss fights in Code Vein are kinda easy. I've been able to model my way through all 6 bosses I've encountered so far by sheer luck and mechanical skill, rather than by having an understanding of their attack patterns or by learning when to attack and when to pull back. Which doesn't make them bad so much as unmemorable, which is a little disappointing for a game and a genre defined partly by its epic boss fights. Similarly unmemorable is the game's story. It's full of cutscenes and character interactions, with a heavy focus on finding and reliving key memories from your companions' lives. It's not terrible, but nor is it particularly good, inhabiting that middle ground of technically existing, but something I'm not really gripped by. Cutscenes are mostly just breathers from the action that allow you to take a breath before diving back into the much more compelling exploration and combat. It might sound like I've started complaining a lot, but Code Vein is actually a really solid action RPG. I'm enjoying exploring the different areas, fighting off its various monsters in fairly satisfying Souls-like combat, and I'm a big fan of the level of control I'm given over my character's fighting style. While the boss fights and story are fairly underwhelming, the rest of the game makes up for it, and I'm definitely having a good time while I'm playing it. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please leave us a comment, like, or subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've got tons of awesome videos coming every week, including review impressions, indie game of the week, debate-driven top 5 lists, video essays, and our weekly podcast where we discuss games, gaming culture, and the games industry. We also stream 3 times a week at twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames. But most importantly, have a fantastic day.